Hello everybody, Joe here. Welcome to the channel. So today's video is going to be a bit of a stretching video. I was at soccer regionals a few weeks ago and I led some of the cool downs, which was just basically a lot of stretching. Stretching really helps in your recovery and will make you less sore the next day. We played a lot of soccer. We played about 5 soccer games in 4 days. So your hips, your glutes, your legs, your low back, everything tends to get a little stiff. So a lot of the players that I played with, they didn't really do a lot of stretching and they were about as flexible as a 2x4. So we're gonna try and work on that today. So we're just gonna basically start with a standing up, have your legs far apart, not too far apart. Straighten your legs best as you can. If you can't straighten, that's fine. Fold your arms and just fold over. So each one of these stretches, we're going to be holding for roughly a minute, anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute. When I do these myself, sometimes I will be holding them for about up to 2 minutes. At that point, if you're holding for 2 minutes, you'll really start to feel the release in the muscles. And yeah, you'll get into the deeper stretch. That's really what's going to help with your recovery. You're able to holding the stretches for 15-20 seconds is all right, but if you can hold it, if you've got the time, hold for, so I'd say maybe around a minute or more, and you'll find you'll be way deeper into the stretches, and again, much better recovery. So we've got about 15 seconds left. Right after this, we're going to put our left hand down, and our right hand is going to go straight up. So again, left hand down, right arm up. Try to have your legs, again, maintain the straightness in the legs. I realize a lot of people, they very much have difficulty straightening the legs, so just, you have to have them bent a little bit, have them bent, but otherwise straighten them as best as you can. And really get that right arm up. So your left arm to right arm, ideally, are going to be perpendicular with the floor. Also, look up to your hand if you can, and try to, instead of having the shoulder like this, try to really get that shoulder back as well. Move around a little bit. Some of these stretches hit kind of smaller areas, a little bit of tiny movement. I really feel this in my left hip and my left groin. Some people may find this in different spots. They may find it more in the hamstring or so. Right arm down, left arm up. I'm much less flexible, I find, on this side. My back, for whatever reason, you're always going to be more flexible on one side than the other. This side, for me, is my lesser of the flexibility ones. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get a few cracks. My back tends to crack quite a bit, so it's a nice release when you're doing a twist or whatever, and you get a nice crack in the back. 15 seconds to go. After this, we're going to go right into a down dog. Down dog is one of the most basic fundamental poses in yoga. And it is a fantastic pose in itself. So if you're in a plank position, all you can do is go straight back. You need to walk your hips in a little bit, walk them in, but don't have them way up here, and also don't have them way down here. So just think plank position, hands below the shoulders, and then right back to a downward dog. You're really trying to push the chest into the ground, and you're also trying to push your heels into the ground as well. Straighten your legs best you can, and again, push the heels into the ground. I cannot get my heels on the ground for the life of me. I've been doing this for many years, and the flexibility in my calves is not the best. All right, right up into upward dog. If this is too hard, you can put your knees down, relax a bit more. This is called cobra. Otherwise, get your knees off the ground and do a bit of an active stretch, which would be upward dog. So cobra, knees down, knees off is upward dog. Again, feel free to do tiny little twists in this. This really feels great in your abs. If you've just done an ab workout as well, this is a fantastic stretch to help your abs recover. Fine, if I don't do this the next day, my abs are always sore. If I do this, my abs just aren't nearly as sore. All right, next is pigeon pose. So your left leg in like so. Ideally, you want to have your left leg 90 degrees to the top of the mat. I cannot do that in the least bit, so I just do the best I can. If this is as far as you can go, stay here. Otherwise, you can go into the ground. This is really going to stretch that hamstring and the glute, which a lot of people, when they first do this stretch for the first time, they're like huffing and puffing and, oh my goodness. So, not a common stretch, but this is a fantastic stretch in itself. Also, when you're doing this, pull your toes in. Try not to let your toes go like this. Just pull your toes in. For most of your stretches, always try to think, pull your toes towards you. It's just better for your knee socket itself, the knee joint itself. Other side. If you have yoga blocks, you can also put yoga blocks below your butt, and it will help you kind of align yourself better. Especially if you're just starting off, this may be super difficult in itself. So put a yoga block underneath, and it'll help you kind of get into a more relaxed position for your stretch. Ten seconds to go. And the next one, going into just a split stretch. So, legs apart, and as best as you can, have these legs straight. If this is as far as you can go, stay here. Otherwise, just try and get your elbows to the ground. If you're super flexible, you can put your legs completely straight. I am nowhere near that. I probably never will be, but this is pretty good for myself. And also, if you have yoga blocks and you want to relax your head, you can put a yoga block here and a yoga block here. Have your hands here, and you can just rest your head on the yoga blocks. I've done that in class many times. This one, we might stay a little longer. I feel like I really need this one, and who knows, maybe you do too. Stand in another 20 seconds. Put 15 seconds aside. We're going to turn to the side and just lean into it. Grab your heel if you can. If you can't grab your heel, that's all right too. Grab your shin, your knee, wherever you're at. And go to the other side. Oh, this side's way stiffer for me. All right, so next is cobbler pose. Put the heels together. Bring the heels also into the groin if you can, and your knees. Try to have your knees on the floor. If you're way up here, that's all right. Just remember, if you're way up here and you're like this and you're really struggling, you definitely need to do this video way more often. Maybe a couple times a week. And if you got time, you can do this video twice over as well, or just hold the poses for longer. Hold each pose for 2 minutes. So I'm going to put my hands up, have my back straight. I'm going to feel this a little bit more in the low back for about 10 seconds or so, and then we're going to release the back so it's not straight, round out the back, and go down a little bit further. You can grab your feet, you can put your knees on top of your legs and kind of push them down a bit if you want. Again, it's all going to kind of depend on your level of flexibility. Little rotation left and right. Ooh. Oh, that's wonderful. Next one we're going to go into is going to be frog pose. So I definitely recommend, I'll turn a little bit of an angle here. I recommend folding your mat up a little bit for this, or it's going to be a little bit harder on your knees. So again, pull your toes towards you. You want 90 degree here, 90 degree here. Come down to your elbows and just hold this. You should really feel this in the hips and the groin. This is a pretty difficult stretch for most. I remember the first time I did this in a class, I thought, no, this stretch is insane. There's no way I'm doing this. However, just go into it slowly. You know, you can come forward, it'll be a lot easier, or the further back you are and the more you have your feet out, the harder it's going to be. So, custom tailor it to your own. I like to usually hold frog pose for about 2 minutes when I'm doing this myself. I just find that I'm super stiff in this one, so I really need the extra time specifically in this stretch. So, we put our hands on the ground, remain in this position, and just push the hips towards the ground. So, this is good right here. Heck of a groin, a little bit of an abdomen stretch. Might even feel this in the low back. Really getting into those areas. Alright, so next we're going to point the toes together. We're basically just going to go like this. So I'll rotate sideways and kind of see a little bit better. So we're coming from this frog pose. We're going to get the toes, point the toes together, and all we're doing is just pushing back. My trusty phone here. Again, when you're doing this, try to bring a yoga mat or have a little bit of cushion under your knees, or some of these are going to be pretty darn painful. My old knees seem to be less durable than they used to be 200 years ago, so a mat for me is very important. now we're going to come up, we're going to push the heels together, and again, push the groin forward. So this is kind of like frog pose, however now your heels and your feet are all together. This is a heck of a groin stretch, and this one really helps. My groin, my low back really needed to stretch after all those soccer games. I really started to feel a little bit tight and stuff off the field, so doing these stretches after helped me tremendously. All right. Now we're going to get into a bit of a low crescent pose. So just like this, knee on the ground. You want your knee above your midfoot, your heel. Don't have it way over here. Make sure again, knee is above. I'll do it from the side here. Knee here, knee here. And we're just going to push forward a little bit. You want to get a little bit deeper, you can slide your knee back. You can have your hands up and just push it a little bit deeper this way. Again, one side may be more flexible than the other, or less flexible than the other. This, for me, is actually a little bit more flexible side. Also, if you find that you're kind of going like this, rotate it so that both legs are faced completely forward. And if your butt is way up like this, try to get your butt below you like so. You feel it more in here when you're doing it. Next, we're just going to straighten this leg. Readjust if needed. Again, pull the toe towards you. Straighten this leg best as you can. If you can't do that, if you're up here and this is a struggle, that's fine. But otherwise, really try to work on straightening that leg. Pulling the toes towards you. Again, I can really feel this in my calves. My calves have always been super tight. I'm not sure why, however they've always been like that, so I'm always trying to work on them. This is a fantastic pose to stretch the heck out of your calf. Again, the more you bend over, the more you're going to feel it, obviously. If you're sitting on your couch, get off your darn couch and try it. You'll understand what I'm saying. Alright, so I'll do the right leg, face towards you. Right leg forward, left leg back. Again, if you feel like you're like this, really try to rotate your hips in this way. And if your hips are kind of cockeyed back, and you're not really in a straight line, bring your hips forward, rotate them forward. I can feel this kind of right in here in my groin. So I don't need to go nearly as deep in this side. I'm already feeling it now. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, put your hands up, make a bit of an active stretch. Just go forward the slightest bit. If you want to do this in even more of an active stretch, go right up to crescent pose, which would be just putting your toes in the ground and popping your knee up. Your back leg would be straight, and this would be basically crescent pose right here. I'm going to avoid that today and just keep the knees down. Again, feel to do little turns and movements in each one of these poses. Kind of suit yourself. All right, straighten the right leg. Pull the toe in again. And I'm just feeling this like gnat in my glutes. Feel this in my glutes. I really feel this in the calf. Oh, I just feel like I'm stiff as a board in this pose. Again, flex that quad to straighten that leg. Pull the toe in, pull the toe in. I know I keep repeating myself, but I find that when I'm stretching with people, a lot of times when you tell them one command, they kind of forget the other one. So I'm always repeating, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. All right, now left leg forward again, right leg back. We're going to go into what I believe is called a runner's stretch. So left leg forward, right leg back. From the side, it's going to look like this. And if this is deep enough, stay here. Otherwise, go towards the ground. I'm going to go on the mat, right into the ground. This is one of my favorite stretches by far. I find that this really gets into that hip joint. And again, make sure your knee is above your heel midfoot. Don't have your knee way over your toe. If you want, you can push the knee out and rotate on the side of your foot. Ooh-wee. That is deadly. Ten more seconds. And then we're going to hop right into the right leg forward, left leg back. Again, this is enough of a stretch for you. Stay here. Otherwise, you go down a little bit, a lot. You have your hand all the way around if you want. Up to you. Do what makes you happy. Also, don't go too deep. You know, when you're doing these stretches, do it so that you can hold it easily for a minute. Maybe towards the end of the minute, it's getting a little bit of a struggle, but don't, go all in and then 5 or 10 seconds later, you're like, oh my God, that's way too painful. I can't do it anymore. Take your time. Have maybe a 40% or 50% deep into the stretch. Don't be going 100%. And again, if you want, you can kind of push the knee out a bit, rotate, and go on the side of the foot. You feel this a little bit deeper in the glute. We've only got a few stretches left. So the next one, all we're going to do is sit on the feet. So my feet are like this. I'm just sitting. You can sit right on them like so. Or you can have them a little bit out and you can sit right on the ground. I prefer to do this. It's a little bit of a deeper stretch. If you want, you can go all the way back, which I will do now. Again, if you can't come here, don't feel bad. A lot of people can't really get to this position. So just stay up on the backs of your hands. Or I should stay on the fronts on your palms. This stretch right here is one that I try to do after every single workout. I've kind of got some hip mobility problems. So this stretch really helps with sort of getting over that, or not really getting over it, but preventing it from getting worse. Sometimes I'll even stay in this stretch for 2, 3, 4 minutes, in which case at the end, I just feel like, woosah. Again, feel free to do a little bit of rotations, side to side. The longer you stay in these stretches, again, if you're staying 2 or 3 minutes, your body is
really going to relax. You're going to feel your tendons, your it's just like a deeper relaxation, really deep into the muscle. Your ligaments, your tendons, your fascia is all kind of release afterwards. And that is when you're really going to increase your flexibility. So we'll come up from that. This time we're going to sit on the feet itself. So from the side, sit on your feet. And then we're just going to move back. And you should really feel this in the tops of, I feel it basically right here. And if you got shin splints in the tops of your shins, this stretch is really going to help get rid of it. So again, sitting on your heels and just kind of pulling them back a bit. All right, now we're going to do the reverse. We're going to put our toes towards us and we're going to sit on our toes. I've got shoes on, so it's fairly easy for me. However, if I don't have shoes on and I've got nothing to kind of, stiffen up the bottom of my foot, if I take my shoes off and I were to do this, and I were to really lean back and put all my weights on my heels for a minute, I'm going to be like kind of screaming at the end of it. I'm going to be like, oh, Jesus. And I want to come forward. But this is great for the bottoms of your feet. Really helps to stretch that. And it's kind of one that, again, a lot of people never do. So the first time or the first few times they do it, it's kind of shocking at how unflexible the bottom of your feet are. Next one, happy baby. I'll do it from this angle so it doesn't look so strange. All you're doing, grabbing the sides of your feet and pulling your knees down like a happy baby. Pull your knees best as you can into the ground. Realize it's not always so easy. This is about as far as mine are going. And you can kind of rock back and forth. A little bit nice and slow. Don't be going fast when you're doing these. Rock the baby. Our last stretches of the day, we're going to put our right leg down, our left leg over, and your left shoulder best as you can to the ground. Mine is definitely not going to the ground today. Some days I'm more flexible than others. Probably also depends on what I did at work that day, if I sat in a chair all day or if I was active all day. Also maybe if I worked out in the morning or not. Just got a nice little crack. It always feels great when you get those nice tiny cracks. If you want, you can have your left hand grab the right top of your foot, top of your ankle, and do a little bit of a pull. So you're pulling this way, and with your left, you're pulling back. This is called a pretzel, and if you're going to try it, you're going to understand why they call it a pretzel. And other side. So left leg straight, grab the right, pull it over, and again, have that right shoulder is down as best as you can. If you're trying to maintain a 90 degree on your knee and a 90 degree here.
best as you can, get the shoulder down again, and turn over completely the other way if you can. I cannot do that. So just do your best. This one's another one of my favorite stretches. I actually do this stretch every morning, just for about 30 seconds or so. As soon as my alarm goes off, I just kind of flop around in bed for about 15 or 20 minutes and just do some basic, super easy stretches where I'm just kind of laying down the whole time. But it helps me to get along with the day, and it helps me release my back first thing in the morning. Again, grab the top of the ankle, pull that back with your right arm, and your left arm is pulling your knee up or over, I should say, into the pretzel. This is a little bit of a advanced pose or an advanced stretch. A lot of people, maybe they can't get into the stretch at all, and that's okay too. Just, release that leg and just hold this position best you can. So, that was the last one.
I actually feel quite a bit better now. Whew. We got about a half hour stretching. So if you don't have a half hour, try and maybe do 15 minutes of this video, and then tomorrow try to do the other 15 minutes. If you're going to do this once or twice a week, you're going to definitely notice an increase in your flexibility and your recovery. And in a couple months' time, you're going to be like, oh wow, my back feels so much better. My hips feel so much better, so on and so forth. If I missed any stretches, you want to see more stretching videos, I can definitely do more stretching videos. I stretch a lot on my own. Every time I work out, I'm generally stretching for about, I would say at minimum 5 minutes, usually 10, 15 minutes after each workout. And I stretch especially the muscles that I work. So for instance, if I played a lot of soccer, I'm going to do a lot of stretching in my legs. If I did a lot of burpees that day, I'm probably going to do a lot of chest stretching, hamstring stretching, and low back stretching. If I'm doing a lot of rowing, I'm going to do a lot of legs and low back stretching. So if you don't have the time, you definitely want to stretch more of the muscles that you've used for that workout. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment down below. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification icon, and it will alert you to when I post new content, which is generally every week on Saturdays. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.